Morning, Emma.
Morning.
All right today? All right. How'd you make out with chapter 8 stuff?
I did pretty good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions from it?
No, I don't think so. No,
Are you using Desmos?
Yes.
Okay. You finding it fairly easy to navigate?
Hi.
Emma, are you finding it easy to navigate Desmos?
Yep.
Yeah? Good. Avery, how'd you make out this weekend on chapter 8? Avery?
Yeah.
How did you make out on chapter 8?
Good.
Yeah, did you have any questions this morning?
No, I don't think so.
Did you get all the way through 8.3?
Yep. Yep.
And no questions, girls? Okay, so we are at the end of chapter 8. Did you look at the review yet, or just finished to the end of 8.3, girls?
I haven't done the review yet. Neither have I.
Perfect. Okay, so why don't we spend a little bit of time this morning working on the review. Avery, are you using Desmos as well?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're not finding any issues with it?
Nope.
All right. Go ahead.
Are we gonna go over the assignment at any time?
Yeah, I could do that this morning. Just let me grab it. That's the chapter 7 assignment, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, why don't we do that right now? That's a good idea. I'll go through that chapter 7 assignment with you. I feel like I'm missing a page here. Okay, I'll do that, and then you can work on that chapter. I just gotta adjust this camera somehow. Can you see the board fine, girls?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the first question in the assignment, if you have it with you, is y equals 1/3 x plus b. What is the value of b if the line passes through -3 and 8? Okay, so that means that my x and my y values are given to me. Okay, so I have y equals, or sorry, 8 equals 1/3 -3 times it. Sorry, 1/3 times -3 add b. So I multiply 1/3 and -3. That gives me a -1, add b. And then to get b by itself, I add the 1 to the other side. I get b is equal to 9. So the equation would be y equals 1/3 x, add 9. Okay, there was a number of you that made, I'm not sure what the error was, but there was a number of errors. The substitution got made all right, but then somewhere along the way there was something that there was a hiccup in there somewhere. So anyways, b is equal to 9 for this question. So I'll just continue to go through it, and if you want me to slow down or stop or whatever, then just ask, girls. Okay, so the next one, they give you the slope, or they give you the y-intercept, and they want you to find the slope. So same idea, determine the value of m if the line passes through the point -2 and 4. So 4 is equal to m times -2 minus 10. I'm going to add 10 to the other side. 14 equals m times -2. I'm going to divide by -2. M is equal to -7. Okay? So the equation, if I was asked for it, would be -7x minus 10. So that was the second question. All right, number 3. Change the equation 2x plus 5y. Okay, so 2x plus 5y subtract 20 equals 0. Into slope-intercept form. All right, so that means that we have to isolate the y. So the first thing I want to do is move everything to the other side. So I get 5y equals, I'm going to subtract 2x, and I'm going to add 20. Okay? Now I'm going to take that 5 and divide it to the other side. So I have -2 over 5, x, add 4. Okay? So now my y-intercept is 0 and 4. That's my starting point. And my slope tells me to go down 2 and right 5. So let's okay, so I go to 0 and 4. It's my y-intercept. I go down 2 to right here, and then right 5 over to here. Now, it's important for us to put arrowheads, and especially if you're using Desmos, they're not going to put arrowheads on it or any other graphing technology, but you need to understand that those arrowheads have to be on it. You have to show that this graph goes up and left forever and down and right forever. So we have to make sure that we have those on there. Okay, so that's question number 3 then. Question 4, 5x minus 2y minus 30 equals 0. What are the x and y intercepts? All right, so the x and y intercepts are where it crosses the x-axis and the y-axis. And the y-intercept occurs when x is 0. And the x-intercept occurs when y is 0. So I plug those values in for x and y into my equation. So I go 5 times 0 minus 2y minus 30 equals 0. All right, 5 times 0 is 0. So I'm left with minus 2y minus 30 equals 0. Minus 2y is equal to 30. y is equal to minus 15. So the y-intercept is negative 15. Now I run it through again, and this time when I run it through, I'm going to put 0 in for y. So I have 5x minus 2 times 0, subtract 30, equals 0. Just running out of room here. I'm going to add 30 to this side and divide by 5, so I get 6. So the answer is 6 and 0. So my x and my y-intercepts, my y-intercept is 0 and negative 15. My x-intercept is 6 and 0. The next one was a bit of a trick. Okay, I wanted to see if you were able to get it. So y equals 4 is the equation of the line. Well, what does that line look like? Y equals 4 is a horizontal line that goes through the coordinate y equals 4. So it doesn't matter what x is, y is always equal to 4. So what that means for the intercepts is that I have a y-intercept of 0 and 4, and I have no x-intercept. Because it does not cross the x-axis, there's no x-intercept for that question. So that was a bit of a trick question to make sure that you were understanding how it works. Oh. Just gonna plug this for a second. That. Sorry, girls. Hopefully that works better. Okay. Okay. Next question is 5. State the intercepts of the line as ordered pairs and then write the equation of the line in general form. Okay, so it gave us a graph. In which the x-intercept was minus 2 and 0, and the y-intercept was 0 and 6. And then it asked us to write it in general form. So what I would do, I can't go right into general form. So I'm going to use the slope-intercept form because I can see what the y-intercept is easily. And then I can count to find out what my m is. I'm going to use that intercept, in the slope-intercept form. And then I'll change it into the general form after the fact. So I see that my y-intercept is 0 and 6. So that becomes y equals mx plus 6. So how do I go from 0 and 6 over to minus 2 and 0? Well, I go 6 down and 2 left. Well, in terms of my slope, that's negative 6 over negative 2. So I have negative 6 over negative 2, which is equal to 3. So I go 6 down, 2 left. Negative 6 over negative 2, which is 3. The equation of this line in slope-intercept form then is y equals 3x plus 6. And then to get it into general form, I simply move the y to the same side as the x and the 6. So 0 equals 3x minus y, add 6. All right. So this is the general form of the equation of the line that goes through minus 2 and 0 and 0 and 6. All right. Use slope point form to write an equation of a line through the point with the given slope. Then write the equation in slope, intercept, and general form. Okay, so this is kind of the Mac Daddy of questions for this. If you're not graphing, this is what we want to be able to do. Can we write an equation of a line in all three forms? That's what we're looking at right now. Okay, so it says write the equation in slope, intercept, and then general form and point slope form. All right, so slope point form. I'm given x1, y1, and I'm given my slope. So I can write that out fairly easily. So slope point form looks like this. Y minus y1 equals m. In slope point form, y minus 8 equals 1/2 x minus 3. We got an error here. Okay. All right. So that's point slope form. If I wanted to take it from here and put it into y-intercept form, I could simply multiply through the brackets and then add 8. Seems pretty simple. So why don't we do that then? So now this is to change it to I'm changing it to slope intercept form. So I multiply the 1/2 through the brackets. Now I'm going to add 8. So I take -3/2 and I add 16/2, which gives me plus 13/2. So what happened there is I took -3/2 and I added 8 to it. So I got a common denominator of 2. -3 add 16 gives me 13/2. So now, slope point form, slope intercept form. Now I need it in general form. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to multiply everything by 2. Sorry, just checking the message. So I'm going to multiply everything by 2 here. That gives me 2y equals x plus 13. Because when I multiply this by 2 and this by 2, that cancels out the half. Now to get it into general form, 0 equals x minus 2y add 13. All right. There is general form. So point slope form, I put the x and the y in for the x1, y1. Then I multiply the half through and add 8. That instantly takes me to slope intercept form. And then here I times everything by 2 and then move it to the one side to get the general form. That's basically what the main thing out of all this chapter 8 stuff that we have to be able to do is work with these 3 equations. Okay, and then add in graphing to it. But we've already done a lot of graphing. So this one is more working with the 3 equations. All right. We okay with this, girls? Any questions about it? Okay.
No.
Yeah, go ahead. You're okay?
No, I don't think I have it.
All right. Okay, so 7a, right? So this is basically your 7.4 section. Write the equation of a line that is parallel to 2x minus y at 4 equals 0 and goes through the point 1 and -6. Express the equation in slope-intercept form. So I have y equals mx add b. Just like that, right? And I need to get an m and a b. Well, the first thing I need to do is get my m. To get my m, I have to work with this equation here. 2x minus y add 4 equals 0. So I need to get the slope of that line, because if it's parallel, they have the same slope. So I'm going to add y to this side. Somewhat different than what I've done, but it doesn't matter if I go from left to right or right to left. I'm still okay. So now it's in y equals mx plus b. Well, what's the slope of this guy? 2 over 1. So I plug it into my equation here. Y equals 2x plus b. Now I need to find my b value. And now in order to find my b value, I'm going to use my x and my y value, my 1 and negative 6. So I go negative 6 equals 2 times 1 plus b. So I put negative 6 in for y. I put 1 in for x. 2 times 1 is 2. I subtract it to that side. I get minus 8 equals b. So the equation of the line that is parallel to 2x minus y at 4 equals 0 and goes through 1 and negative 6 is y equals 2x minus 8. So the first thing I do is I find my slope out of the equation that was given to me. Knowing that parallel lines have the same slope, I go through that. Okay? And then it actually asked me to write this in general form in the last section, so I'll do that before I go. So I just simply subtract y. So this is the general form of that equation. So it'll be 2x minus y minus 8 equals 0. Okay? Let's look at the b. We now need a line perpendicular. And we want it in point slope form. So I go y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Okay? Now I already have the x and the y, the x1 and the y1. Okay? Now what I need to do is I need to find the perpendicular slope to this line right here. So again, I just simply add y like that. That means that my slope is 2 over 1. But for my new equation, I need to use the perpendicular slope. So how do I tell a slope that's perpendicular to 2 over 1? I flip it or reciprocate it, and I add the negative to it. It's the negative reciprocal of it if it's perpendicular. So now I rewrite this. Y add 6 equals, because it's y subtract the negative 6, I change that to an add. Negative 1 over 2 x minus 1. Just like that. Okay? So there's the answer for B. And in C, again, it wants this in general form. I'm going to times everything by 2. Which gets rid of my denominator, my half. 2 times negative a half is negative 1. Distribute that through the brackets. And I have it in general form. Okay? I add x and I subtract 1 to that side. So this one here, gotta dismiss this. So this one here, the key to it is to distribute through the brackets properly and make sure you're in negative numbers. So this was the one part of the assignment that I thought there was a little bit of work that needed to be done on it, changing it. Okay? So that's the entire assignment. Questions from it, girls? Want to look at any of the questions again? Want any explanations from it? You're okay?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay. All right, I'm going to leave it open for a few minutes here. Okay. If you want to work through the start of the review, I'll make you dizzy here for a second. Put this in. Okay. I'll just mute it. If you have anything you want to add or anything you want to see, just ask. Okay?